Dearest soul, something didn't go your way recently, and if you're honest, you probably took it personally. Maybe it was money slipping through your hands. Maybe it was someone you trusted not showing up the way you expected. Maybe it was an opportunity you were counting on that suddenly disappeared without warning. And in that moment, your mind did what it always tries to do. It built a story that says, "See, this is why things never work out. See, I knew it was too good to be true. See, maybe I'm just not meant for this." I understand that feeling more than you think, because when you've been putting in effort, real effort, working on yourself, trying to grow, trying to improve your life, trying to stay hopeful, and then something collapses anyway, it doesn't just feel like a setback. It feels like a betrayal. It feels like all your effort didn't matter. Like life looked at everything you've been doing and quietly said, "Not enough," and that hurts in a way that's hard to explain. But here's the truth you're not seeing right now. The meaning you've assigned to that moment is completely off. What you're calling failure, what you're calling loss, what you're calling proof that things don't work for you, might actually be the exact opposite. Let me explain it differently. Think about your phone for a second. You try to install something new, something you've been waiting for, something exciting, something that could make your life easier or better, and then that message pops up, "Storage full, cannot install." Now in that moment, you don't get angry at the app. You don't assume the app doesn't exist. You don't take it personally. You understand the real issue. There's no space. Your phone is packed with old photos you forgot about, apps you never use, files that haven't mattered in months or even years, but they're still sitting there, occupying space. And until something is removed, nothing new can come in. That's just how the system works. Now, apply that to your life. That thing that didn't work out, that situation that ended, that opportunity that slipped away. What if it wasn't random? What if it wasn't punishment? What if it wasn't a sign that you're unlucky or incapable? What if it was simply space being made? Because here's something most people don't realize. You can't receive what you're asking for while you're still holding on to what no longer fits. It doesn't matter how badly you want something new. If your time is consumed, if your energy is drained, if your attention is tied up, there's nowhere for that new thing to land. And life has a way of solving that problem. Not gently, not always comfortably, but effectively. It removes what's in the way. And yes, when that happens, it feels like loss. Of course it does. You had history with that thing. You had expectations tied to it. You imagined a future that included it. So when it disappears, it feels like something was taken from you. But look closer. Was it really adding value, or was it just familiar? Was it helping you grow, or just keeping you occupied? Was it aligned with where you're going, or just something you got used to carrying? Because sometimes the hardest truth to accept is this. You weren't losing something that was building your future. You were losing something that was quietly blocking it, and you couldn't see it while it was still there. Now here's where everything shifts. Instead of asking the usual question, "Why did this happen to me?" ask a different one. Ask, "What did this make room for?" Not in a forced, overly positive way, but in an honest, curious way. Did it give you time you didn't have before? Did it free up mental space that was constantly occupied? Did it remove a source of stress you had normalized? Did it disconnect you from something that was draining more than it was giving? Because if you're willing to look without emotion clouding your judgment, you might notice something surprising. What left your life was costing you more than you realized, not just in obvious ways, but in subtle ones. Energy you didn't know you were losing, focus that was constantly divided, opportunities you couldn't even see because your hands are already full. And now there's space. It might feel empty right now, but empty isn't bad. Empty is available. Empty is open. Empty is ready. And this is the part most people get wrong. They spend so much time grieving what's gone that they completely ignore what's now possible. They keep revisiting the old thing, replaying it, analyzing it, wishing it had stayed. while the space it created just sits there, unused. It's like deleting files on your phone and then refusing to download anything new because you're still thinking about what you deleted. That doesn't make sense, right? But that's exactly what we do in life. We clear space and then fill it with regret instead of possibility. So here's what I want you to understand. You don't need to rush to replace what you lost. You don't need to immediately fix the situation. You don't even need to fully understand why it happened yet. All you need to recognize is that something has shifted. There is now room in your life that didn't exist before. Room for new ideas, room for better opportunities, room for healthier connections, room for growth that wasn't possible in a crowded system. But none of that can enter if you keep trying to reinstall what was removed. Because sometimes we don't just lose things. Sometimes we try to bring them back. We chase what ended. We cling to what left. We try to recreate what clearly fell apart. And in doing that, we fill the space again with the same patterns, the same limitations, the same outcomes. If something left your life, let it leave. Not out of bitterness, but out of understanding. Understanding that its role is complete. Understanding that its presence is no longer required for where you're going. Understanding that holding on to it will only block what's trying to come next. And I know that's not easy, because uncertainty is uncomfortable. The unknown doesn't give you guarantees. It doesn't offer immediate reassurance, but it does offer something powerful, potential. And potential only exists where there is certainty. So instead of focusing on what you don't have anymore, start paying attention to what you now have access to. Time you can invest differently. Energy you can redirect. Attention you can focus on something that actually moves you forward. Because this moment, right here, right now, is not the end of something. It's the opening of something. You just can't see what it is yet, and that's okay. You don't need the full picture to take the next step. You just need to stop looking backward long enough to notice what's in front of you. So take a breath, not because everything is perfect, but because everything is changing. And change, even when it doesn't feel like it, is often working in your favor. What fell apart didn't ruin your path. It adjusted it. It removed what couldn't go with you. It cleared what was overcrowding your life. It created space for something you've been asking for, whether you realize it or not. So don't rush to label this moment as failure. Don't be so quick to assume it's a setback. It might just be preparation. Preparation for something that requires a version of your life that wasn't possible before. And now, that version has room to exist. So stop mourning what's gone like it was the only thing you could have. It wasn't. It was just one thing. And now that it's no longer taking up space, your life is open again. Open for better, open for different, open for something that actually fits who you're becoming. And that's not loss. That's alignment in progress.